right, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Season 2 of the Cyberware podcast. My name's Nathan Sloniker. I'm a student on the Information Security team at Minnesota State University Mankato, and I'll be your resident expert on all things cybersecurity. And I'm here joined by Ham.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Just your regular, average, everyday guy, but, I'm also a guy who loves to game. I work here on campus in the CSU as part of their kitchen, and it's great to be a part of this team, man.
Welcome aboard. All right, so for our first episode today, we're just going to be talking about the basics of cybersecurity. And just starting off here, Ham, what do you know about cybersecurity?
Nathan, I don't really know a whole lot about cybersecurity, but I make sure to keep, my passwords tightly knit, over 14 characters. Surprisingly, I can remember that stuff. I travel a lot, so I don't try to, jump on open Wi-Fis. Who knows what could be on those Wi-Fi bands? Try and sneak in some of your information.
As far as tips go, those are very good practices to have. I have a few friends here who, or even I know people who have the same password for their bank account that they do their Instagram, stuff like that. Some of the stuff they're going to be talking about is why you probably shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff. So just starting off here, for anyone who isn't familiar with what cybersecurity is, it's the practices of just protecting computer systems, networks, things like that, all things cyber. And important, again, how much stuff runs on the internet nowadays and technology, all that sort of stuff. Backbone of all that is cybersecurity. And as for our message for our team in general, it's being cyber aware. That's our message that we're going to be pushing out this whole season, is what it means to be cyber aware. And another question for you, Ham, is when you think of cyber aware, what do you think of? You already had good examples, but are you familiar with our message at all?
Not really, Nathan. To be fair with you, just being cyber aware is something that I tried to learn a little bit more in high school to see what was really there. But in reality, I really don't have any clue what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, so being cyberware, as we said, it really falls back onto safe cybersecurity practices. Knowing what you're doing, being smart in what you're choosing to do, what you're clicking, all things like that. Some of the things we're going to be covering in this episode are just that. For a backbone of Be Cyberware is our main message, which is the 4 Ps of cybersecurity, which is passwords, patching, phishing, and protecting your devices. Are you familiar with any of those? Or?
I'm really aware with phishing because just how people go and just try to go for those, I'm going to say keywords. When you're signing on to a Wi-Fi, okay, what's your password? Or it could be you got to sign in a birth date. What's your birth date? And that's just one piece of information that they could use to try and snag something of yours.
All right, just going off some of the things with the 4 Ps, Ham. Have you, again, you said you're familiar with phishing. What is phishing to you, and have you ever experienced it?
I've experienced phishing a whole lot. I'll get emails left and right asking for a reset password. Even in this day and age where everything's online, we were ordering stuff online, Amazon, you name it. You're entering passwords left and right. You're getting emails from everywhere, right? People are so destructive trying to get your information that they'll go to great lengths to do anything to get it.
Let me tell you this. So last week I actually had we had someone a phishing email that found its way to a couple employees on campus.
Oh yeah.
And it came through, and with me being on the security team, I investigated. I go into the VM, a virtual machine, if you're familiar with those.
Yeah.
And I click on the link and go see what's going on. I'm not kidding. This was the most legitimate site I've ever seen. You clicked on it. It was branded purple, all the whole thing. And all it said was enter your password. And me being the jokester, I just typed in some random words and it just said, thank you. That's it. It wanted you to log in and just said, thank you. But I mean, most legitimate phishing email I've seen to date, just with how the branding looked on it. And think people are getting sophisticated with it. You might have the odd one where you get something, you're like, really? This is the best you can muster up?
Yeah.
But we've been having, I genuinely was impressed with what I saw last week. And it just goes to show with how far some of these things can come. When it comes to other things, phishing, there's an example that we'll talk about later called whaling.
Interesting.
It's kind of a variant of phishing. There's spear phishing, you're going for select people. Whaling, you're going for the top guy. You're going for the executive. You're putting in the effort to make it look really legit. I mean, this was just not on the same level of any sort of way, but this is just goes to show you how sophisticated some of these things are starting to get and how methodical and thinking people are with, okay, how can we get this? How can we attack someone with this? It's not just throwing something at the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Yeah. That's so crazy. Imagine someone taking the time and the effort to really make a web page that's so branded perfectly, just to the Minnesota State University Mankato brand itself, the purple and gold, everything. Like you were saying, that blows my mind. that someone would go to great lengths to try and make something like that happen.
And it's crazy. It's not just Mankato. We're not just the only people this is happening to. It's happening to a ton of companies, ton of other colleges, even your home, whatever it could be. Okay, this kind of looks like my provider of some sort or whatnot. And this doesn't even get into phishing where you might have something like phone calls.
Yeah,
Or,
oh my gosh.
or the robocalls that everyone receives a million times a day in today's world. So yeah, and then another thing that I thought we should cover is patching. Are you familiar with what patching is?
I know about like patching my games. That's really about all I know.
That's pretty close. Patching is just fixing improvements on anything that's broken or anything that might be out of date, stuff like that. So patching is one of the things that we also recommend, and that kind of just falls in the same thing of keep your devices up to date. And we're going to be covering just kind of the top what vulnerabilities can happen and why that's one of them.
That's a great topic to talk about because my old laptop that I have still runs on Windows 98 and it is a beef of a laptop.
Yep.
But let me tell you, the amount of viruses that thing probably has is incredibly high. Yep. But just because like I was a young kid back then, I didn't know what to look out for. And now on my like home-based computer, like I only visit YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
Yep.
That's it.
I don't know if you've ever had a Mac before.
Never.
Are you familiar with Adobe Flash?
A little bit.
I don't know if you recently heard that actually went out of date, like they're not supporting it anymore.
Wait, are you talking about the original Adobe Flash that would run like Flash games?
Yep, the original Adobe Flash, and it actually is like a hot spot for like malware and viruses now. People have their update your Adobe Flash, and there's one malware that's associated with it called Schlayer.
Interesting. I've never heard of that.
And it's one of that we get that just through our email, our alerts. We have that every other week. We have at least one of those come in because someone has something. They still have Adobe Flash on the computer.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's out there that has Adobe Flash, get rid of it. Okay, it's not supported, not needed, anything like that anymore.
I can't play Club Penguin anymore.
Nope. All right. So yeah, just backing off safe cybersecurity practices. So earlier you were covering what you do in your own time. Do you notice anything that you see other people do that you're like, why? Why do you do that? Or
all the time. Like if I'll go down to the coffee hag here in Mankato and like, yeah, they got free Wi-Fi down there, but like I'm gonna be honest with you. When I go down in there, I just jump right on my phone and I do all the stuff from my mobile device because it's tagged to like my LTE, my 4G network, and I don't need to worry about anybody being on the same network as me. Because like people who are like super, super smart and like know all this computer savvy stuff, if you're on the same network, people will find ways to like wiggle their way into your system and they'll find ways.
Yep, you can fairly easily find out who else is on your network. But yeah, just with Wi-Fi in general, the free Wi-Fi that you're talking about, coffee shops, airports.
Oh, airport.
If you see free Wi-Fi, don't use it. Not a good idea. If it's not password protected, you have no idea what's sitting on the other end of that network. Safe clicking. Know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Know what you're clicking on. Know what you're going to be searching. Know where you're going. Okay. Don't just randomly, okay, yeah, let's click, let's go. I'll log into this Wi-Fi. I'll click on that link. Just a horrible practice overall. Know and just be mindful of what you're doing. And that'll keep you safer because that click could accidentally download something on your device, or that click could log you into a Wi-Fi network that's unsafe. Everything like that.
Yeah, that actually brings me to a really good story. When I was really young, on one of my older laptops that I used to have, I was on YouTube and I was just scrolling, watching through videos left and right, blah, blah, blah. And I went down this huge rabbit hole. And then on this video that I was like super interested about, I was like, click this link and it'll give you a coupon code, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And me being the dummy that I was, I clicked on that coupon link. Little did I know, I downloaded the Trojan virus onto my laptop.
Fun.
And it was completely unusable after that.
That just backs up to safe clicking. Sorry to hear that happened.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been a learning experience.
It really
though.
was. It really was.
Yeah, just even off the Wi-Fi and stuff. I'm sure you game a lot. I take it.
Yeah, I game a lot, and I got a VR set.
Okay.
So virtual reality. Little did I know is that those VR systems don't have any malware or like antivirus protection
I did
inside
not know
them.
that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So little did I know that people were able to like trace my location through the headset. Yeah.
Actually.
Literally, it was the scariest moment of my life. It got to a point where I was chilling. I was on VR in a game called VR Chat, right?
Yep.
And I was chilling in with this world with a bunch of people. And my computer just started pinging me left and right. I was like, what in the world's going on? So I lift my headset up and I see like these X's all over my screen. I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world's going on?
Are you talking on your computer screen or your VR screen?
My computer screen.
Okay.
So I had to lift up my headset, and I just kept hearing these pings, and there were error messages all over my screen. And I was like, what in the world's going on? Until my VR set blacked out, and it just died. And I was like, wait a minute, what's happening?
Okay.
So I immediately I hard turned off my computer.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not going to go back on my computer for a couple days. And I just left it alone.
And
So-
okay, and when you turned it back on, it worked. VR
It worked
worked
just fine.
Everything worked. So yeah, with the 4 Ps of cybersecurity, we have patching, passwords, phishing, and protecting your devices. So passwords itself, pretty simplified. Have a good password. Don't share the same password with everything. Most passwords nowadays, you'll see the weak, medium, strong.
Yep.
Always have a strong and double the strong is my kind of thing. Triple
double
it. So I might always don't have the same password that you have for your Facebook, that you have for your bank, that you have for your email. I myself have different passwords for everything, and they're 25 plus characters long. It's
Oh my gosh.
gibberish, absolute gibberish. And I had a few buddies. I mean, one of my buddies the other week, actually last week itself, one of my friends from back home actually had his work email got like hacked in a way.
Oh, sure.
And we found out that it was from somebody in Ukraine is where it was located. Could have been a VPN, but we just saw Ukraine.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, what password is this for? And he told me, oh, I have this password for my work. Not my bank account, but I have it for my Instagram and this. And I was like, okay, go into your email, find all the accounts associated with that email and that profile. Go change your passwords immediately. And this is for anyone who's listening with your passwords. If you have the same password for anything, if I could recommend anything, take an hour out of your day, go through and just change all your passwords, put them somewhere only that you know where they are, and just go through, take an hour, change all your passwords on everything, and that way you'll know it'll be safe. No one else can have that sort of thing. Because as I was saying, password stuff, they get leaked. Even your credit cards, someone could have bought your credit card off a deep web auction years ago, and they're just waiting until they actually need to use it.
Yeah.
You're one of 1,000 that they ended up getting. And it's just protecting having a good password, all that. Keep your stuff updated, change your passwords frequently. Always a good idea. Okay, and next for the 4 Ps, we have protecting your devices. Ham, what do you do to protect your devices?
I try to take the average everyday guy approach to everything. Like, okay, I got my phone, I got my computer, I got my tablet. I have all these things, and I have different passwords for each device.
Smart.
So, like, even though on my phone, like, really, in reality, I just shake it and I turn it on because I'm the only one who touches my phone.
Yep.
I never leave it anywhere. I don't go anywhere without it, and it stays in my pocket. As for like my computer and my tablets, yeah, they're linked to my Microsoft account, but I have different passwords for each of them just in case if anything happens.
Okay, and just a thought process for you here. Do you have like a 4-digit password on your phone or what?
No,
What kind of security do you have on your phone?
honestly, nothing really.
Okay. If I were to ask you, what kind of things do you store on your phone that you might not think of? Do you have social media?
I do.
Emails?
Yep.
Student, personal?
Just personal email.
Any banking information?
No.
No banking apps?
Nope.
Okay, that's smart. Anything else that you can think of that you have on there that might get overlooked? You have contacts.
I got my contacts, messages. Phone
Okay,
calls.
now how about you? Do you play on a PC, laptop?
PC?
Okay, how about the PC?
Oh,
How much stuff, important things do you think you have stored on there?
Probably 80% of
Okay.
probably really important things are on my computer.
Yep, and just going off of that, if that computer became vulnerable, or
I would be in detriment.
exactly. So yeah, just going back off the protect your devices. If you just want to take a minute and think about everything that you have stored on your phone, your computer, your tablets. How much of your stuff? Oh, I have my banking information, my Amazon. Oh, well, my Amazon's tied to my credit card.
Yep.
My Netflix account, or, my Facebook has my contacts, my address, where I went to college. All these things could be just found vulnerable if anything were to happen to your devices. So just keep protecting your devices, keeping your devices just up to date. Make sure it goes off of the 4 Ps of cybersecurity, all that stuff. Keep them up to date. Keep them secure. Don't be just giving your password out to anyone. Don't just lend anything out whenever. Stay smart, because again, just take a minute and think about everything that you have on these devices, and you'll be like, oh my, I have a lot of important stuff here.
Exactly. And there's one thing, you have a Mac or a PC?
I have a Mac, a Dell, and then a PC.
Okay, so you got them all. When you're logging onto a website, let's say Amazon, for example, right?
Yep.
And Google says, hey, do you want to save this password for this website? Never.
Never.
Absolutely
Absolutely
not.
never. I agree with you there.
Like, Google, why are you trying to save my stuff? I don't want that.
Yep.
This is my information.
No, I 100% agree. I don't save passwords. Not a fan of it. I know my password. I don't need you to know my password.
Exactly.
You know? Some people are, lazy and just like, you know what? I don't want to type this in every time. Or don't save it. Better practice that way. After typing it in 5 times, you usually can, depending on how long it is, memorize it pretty quick. All right. We start talking about personal security. Now we can talk about businesses and small businesses. And one of the biggest vulnerabilities, if I were to ask you, what do you think the biggest vulnerability that most businesses have is?
Honestly, I would have no idea, to be fair. I'll keep going to the example of open Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Like, who knows, some person or some hacker guy could hacker man his way into it and be like, now he's in the network and he's finding all the credit cards that have been stored through the card swiper, or if they're new to like the business, they'll have the Apple scan or whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but like all that information goes to the phone and then that gets saved into their database.
That is a great example. What I was going to say, or what I personally believe in, what is usually the biggest vulnerability, people.
Oh, okay.
If you think about it, as you were talking about, the hacker man, quote unquote, getting all this sort of information, and it comes back to even phishing. If you're trying to fish, you're phishing someone. Not a machine, not anything. It's the person who'd click on that, make it vulnerable.
Yeah.
Or someone, oh yeah, I'll hold the door for you and you can get in. If depending on who we have in future guests, I know a story that if we have a certain person, they might tell. So that'll be a pretty fun one to hear.
Cool.
But yeah, as far as I can say, people are sometimes the biggest vulnerability, and it's not like we mean to be. True. It's just people are trusting most of the time. So when it comes to, okay, that looks legit, I'll click on it, or yeah, I'll hold the door for you, or yeah, here's what you need. I can help you out here. And that just falls into security awareness. And just going back onto the CyberAware again, if you can, big, small, however, even within your family, CyberAware, just teach people and teach everyone that you can about the dangers of the internet. And the internet can be a great place. It can be a fun place. It's just be smart with what you're doing. And when it comes to businesses, big, small, training people and just teaching them about how to be safe and how to be just on top of everything they're doing and just be aware of anything that could be going on, always a great thing. So safe practice, always going to recommend that. And when it comes to businesses, big and small, some of the issues that it has with security, who do you think has more funding for security?
Definitely big business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's actually, we're going to cover that in one of our later episodes, a big attack that I'm sure you've heard of, ransomware. Yep. So we're going to be covering just kind of how businesses themselves can tie into ransomware versus size.
Right on.
All right. So yeah, just going off, as I just talked about ransomware, threats in the cyber world. How about you? Can you list any off the top of your head that you can think of?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to just think.
You've mentioned phishing.
Yep, phishing.
Hacker man, so you've mentioned hacking.
Oh yeah. I remember the leak information of the PlayStation Network.
Yep.
If you remember that many years ago, there was
what was Xbox Lizard Squad?
Yeah,
I remember that.
I remember that. That was rough. Then there was the security dump of Facebook.
Yep.
When that happened, oh gosh, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody's at risk.
I've had one of the people who I've learned from tell me before, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
When it comes to you're vulnerable. Everyone will at one point. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So yeah, just going off what you said, you cover hacking, phishing. So other big ones, as I said, ransomware, credit card fraud. I mean, have you ever been a victim of credit card fraud in any sense or know someone?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Anyway, continuing on. So as we said, we covered types of threats in the cyber world: hacking, ransomware, phishing, fraud, as I said, credit card fraud, big one nowadays. Another one, cyber stalking, big one, someone finding your address and all things like that. That could tie into it a little bit, just the same sort of sense.
Like DDoS attacks and just like having someone know your location literally to a T.
Yep. Okay. For anyone who doesn't know what DDoS is, it's a denial of service. So basically, I can fry your router more or less or your Wi-Fi.
My favorite.
Yep.
Oh boy, my favorite. I love that.
So if anyone has your network information, your IP, stuff like that, and for a big thing is DDoSing happens a lot in video games. For anyone who doesn't know, if they get you in a network or they're in the game with you, you guys are linked through the game. Yep. Your networks are paired because you're playing together. They can then use that to basically boot you off through your Wi-Fi or boot your internet, whatever you have going on. And then you will be obviously off the internet. Your internet went down and then game's going on. but you got kicked.
Yeah.
So yeah, DDoS, denial of service. And another one, social engineering. As I said, people will social engineer their targets, know who they're looking into, who they're going for, and as I said, people are trusting. They might try to get this information from you. You might not expect anything from it, and then bam, vulnerable.
Boom, it happens.
And then we already covered whaling earlier,
Yeah.
going for the top executives, stuff like that. And this can tie in. There's another one called spear phishing where it could be, okay, I'm taking this person, this person, this person, and then whaling is, I'm top dog. I'm going right for them.
We're going right for the top of the line. Who's at the top of the food chain here?
Some of the top vulnerabilities in our daily lives that we can handle. As I said, one of the biggest vulnerabilities is usually people when it comes to technology. And even going off just the 4 Ps that we were talking about earlier is patching. So things like old devices, out-of-date devices, always can be vulnerable. Keep your things up to date.
Yeah.
Always keep your things up to date. Apps, devices that you have all the time.
All the time.
As we also said, ties into the patching with the 4 Ps. Out-of-date devices, old devices. Keep your stuff up to date. And when it comes to old devices, certain things like Macs, I think, have an expiration date where past a certain age, they can't actually get any more updates, or they can't get the new Big Sur update.
Oh, like sure.
And then another big vulnerability is zero-day vulnerabilities. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I honestly have no idea what zero-day vulnerability is actually at all.
So zero-day vulnerabilities are something that like a provider might be aware of, and the customer might be in the dark about it, and the provider is knowing about it the whole time and might not say anything. And the longer it goes on, just the bigger issue that it could be. So yeah, that can be a pretty big issue when it comes to some big, developments or some big software that.
Interesting. That's
how we never knew, or we didn't know about it. They might have known about it, but just kept it in the.
That's fishy.
Yeah,
that's some fishy stuff.
So yeah, I mean, that's just a general cybersecurity, guys. Just being cyber aware. If you want to have some more tips on that, just check out our website or just tag along in later episodes because we're going to be talking about more of these kind of issues. So yeah, big takeaways from this episode, just being cyber aware. Being smart on what you're doing on the internet, making sure people that are being smart on the internet, that ties into having good passwords, safe clicking, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How about you? What would you recommend for some viewers?
I say the 3 big takeaways for myself is like, make sure what you have, make sure your information's safe, being aware, like passwords is a huge thing for me. Like I have a different password for just about everything that I log into, patching, make sure your stuff is up to date, make sure everything's ready and ready to go. And honestly, I didn't know about like the term of whaling. I thought that was crazy. And people going for the top dogs. That's mind blowing to me.
Yep, it's interesting stuff. What kind of attacks? And we only covered a handful.
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
So much more out there that we can cover in later episodes, but this is just some of the main ones that we wanted to bring up this episode. So yeah, for anyone, again, with the website, just go to msu.edu/CyberAware for more information on that sort of thing. Again, Ham, thank you for joining me for this first episode, and thank you for everyone who's listening.
Dude, thanks for having me on. This has been such an honor. Thank you.
No problem. I'm glad to have you. And now we're just going to pass it off to Mercy for the current news.
First update today, gamers beware. Malware hunts Epic and EA Origin accounts. A new malware on the hunt today is Blood Stealer that swipes data including cookies, passwords, bank card information saved in web browsers, screenshots, login memory, and application sessions. The research made by Capacity also found a big demand on the darknet for stolen game accounts that are going for a very attractive price. Gaming accounts are clearly hunted by cybercriminals, so if you want to enjoy gaming peacefully and don't worry about your in-game credit or accounts being gone, make sure you protect your account with two-factor authentication and use a reliable security solution to protect your devices. Our second update today, emails, chat logs, more leaked online from a far-right militia linked to the US Capitol riot. Emails, chat logs, membership records, donor lists, and other files were leaked by a group called Oath Keepers. These also admitted their role in the January 6th storming of the U.S. Capitol. Some of the data leaked online was 160 of the U.S. government and military email addresses. Our third news update today is Tangobot malware aiming at Android devices. A cybersecurity company called CloudMark has recently identified a new malware that can take over a victim's mobile phone through SMS. The way this would work is you get a text message, a link. Once this link is clicked, it redirects you to a website asking you for an Adobe Flash update. This malware also has the ability to take over your device's functions that may include a contact list, your phone history, camera, and microphone, along with the ability to use the internet. Be aware and avoid clicking links from numbers you do not recognize. Another malware on the hand, called Schleer, has the same ability to ask you for an Adobe Flash update, and once this is clicked, it has access to your browsing history and may also pave way for other malware to be downloaded on your device. And that wraps up the news for this week. Thank you for listening to the Cyberware podcast. We'll see you next time.